11.6 has just been released, so in order for you guys to start dominating this patch, we're set to share with you 10 of the absolute best solo carry champions. Each pick we feature is one in which our analysts believe to have the greatest ability to influence games, and 1v9 for the current meta. Who do you guys think is the most broken champion for 11.6? Let us know down in the comments below. To stay up to date with all our future content, don't forget to sub and turn on notifications if you haven't already. With all that said, let's run down those 10 solo carry picks. Rising in priority drastically for 11.6 is Riven, and she will be our first solo carry feature. So many meta top lane picks like Garen, Darius, and Gnar are being hit with those Stridebreaker and Sterix nerfs. In previous patches, Riven had been trailing just slightly behind all of them, so for 11.6, she'll now begin to push above. Riven's one of the few bruiser top laners who's actually benefited from item changes in previous patches, as Black Cleaver and Essence Reaver were recently buffed. Riven also received a direct buff to her E not so long ago, which is another reason as to why she's ready to break out. Renekton has been nerfed multiple patches in a row, and we'll start seeing less and less play, which is also perfect for Riven since that's one of her less favorable matchups. Besides Renekton, the only other matchup Riven players are struggling with at the moment is Urgot, so we would recommend you ban him out. Once you get the ball rolling with Riven, there's no looking back, as the raw mobility her kit provides allows you to play super aggro and constantly look for opportunities to extend the lead. The new Korean build of Gore Drinker into Essence Reaver and Black Cleaver gives Riven everything she wants. Great survivability, a nice pop of burst, lots of ability haste. The build is just so strong and offers such an insane amount of solo carry power. If you prefer a little more durability in your setup, then Gore Drinker into Black Cleaver and Ravenous Hydra can work just as well. The best rune page for Riven is Conqueror paired with Sorcerer secondary, taking Transcendence for even more haste and Gathering Storm for scaling power. Another bruiser top laner moving up in priority this patch is Wukong. Just like Riven, none of Wukong's core items are being nerfed, while one of his core items is Black Cleaver, which was just recently buffed. Wukong also does such an amazing job at countering other AD bruiser picks thanks to his passive. Wu holds a positive win rate against almost every single meta bruiser like Gnar, Darius, Fiora, Camille, and Riven. His passive grants bonus armor, and the effects are amplified further simply by attacking his opponent, which makes Wukong's 1v1 power disgustingly strong in those AD matchups. The only AP champion in the top 10 most played for top lane is Malphite, and he's a pretty good counter to Wukong, so be sure to get rid of Mal in the ban phase. All in all, Wukong has a great laning phase, scales super well into the mid game, provides strength in the 1v1 and team fights, which makes him a very well-rounded carry option. The standard build is a Divine Sunderer into Ravenous Hydra and then Sterix. If you guys watched our Korean builds video though, you'd know of a new build popping up of Essence Reaver into Stridebreaker and Black Cleaver. Both are really great options, so experiment and see which fits your style the best. The rune page is Conqueror combined with Inspiration Secondary running Freeboots and Biscuits. Continuing his rampage all over the jungle meta for 11.6 will be Hecarim, despite receiving a direct nerf. The new Korean build of Russian Chem Tank has just put Hecarim on another level, and even though the nerf will bring him down slightly, it's not enough for us to remove Hec as a solo carry pick. By running Ghost and Phase Rush, Hecarim's gank power is so impactful early on and can lead to gaining massive advantages. Once you complete Chem Tank, the enemy ADC might as well just AFK, as you'll be able to run anyone down without any counterplay at all. The move speed stack build gives Hecarim even more power than your average champion, since his passive grants bonus AD based on move speed. This allows for you to go full tank, soak limitless amounts of damage in fights, and still be a potent damage threat. That full build consists of Chem Tank into Deadman's and then Force of Nature third. Here's the complete rune page, as you want to take Phase Rush for the Keystone, with all the other move speed runes in Sorcery combined with Domination secondary running Sudden Impact and Ravenous Hunter. Our second solo carry jungler is another one that you'll need to be abusing the move speed setup on while you can, and it's Skarner. If Hecarim is banned out, then we definitely recommend resorting to Skarner, as his strength with Chem Tank is very similar, yet super underrated. On Chem Tank completion, it is so easy to execute pick plays and catch enemies out of position. After all, Skarner's ultimate is a point-and-click suppress, so there's literally no counterplay unless the enemy team stacks QSS. Early to mid-game, once Skarner completes Chem Tank, it's very unlikely any QSSs will have been purchased, so finding those free picks will be of the plenty. Skarner actually does a great job at shutting down other meta dive champions like Hecarim and Kha'Zix, since his ultimate is such a reliable peel tool. It's not just the crazy pick plays Skarner can make, but the ability to nullify champions from reaching his carries. The move speed from Chemtank, Deadman's, and Force of Nature is just so imbalanced that it has to be nerfed in the coming patches, so abuse this build path while you can. It doesn't even stop there though, since Skarner's Spires provide bonus move speed as well, which pumps it up a gear into sport mode and lets you zoom in even faster. Take Phase Rush as your keystone to enhance your ability to dodge around in fights, combined with Inspiration Secondary with free boots and biscuits. Recently featured in our latest Korean builds video, Ahri is now a top tier carry pick to climb with. If you watched that video, you'd know of the new build that's propelled her up the tier list. An Everfrost Rush with Cosmic Drive tacked on second has turned Ahri into an S tier mid laner. Everfrost kind of mimics the old GLP build in a way, as the slow from active helps to line up skill shots easier or extend that charm duration after it lands. Much of Ahri's strength resolves around her ultimate and being able to make aggressive pick plays whenever it's available. This is where Cosmic Drive comes in, as the 40 ability haste it provides drastically lowers the cooldown of Ahri ult and gives her way more influence on how the mid game plays out. Lucidity Boots are also outperforming Sork Shoes on Ahri, as stacking as much haste as possible is the most optimal play for 11.6. Ahri's matchups are pretty solid in the meta at the moment. She can do super well into Yone, as he needs to move forward right onto Ahri to deal damage, so the Everfrost Root and Charm counter him really well. Kassadin is one of her more difficult matchups, so it's a good idea to use your ban on him. For the complete build, rush Everfrost into Cosmic Drive and then Zanya's or Horizon Focus third. Roll with Electrocute as the keystone and dip into Sorcery secondary, maxing out that haste by taking Transcendence combined with Mana Flow Band. Kassadin will continue to dominate as one of the most broken mid lane champs for 11.6. Just like Ahri, Cass can abuse Everfrost extremely well, which gives him an edge up on many other mids. It's a game against the clock whenever you lock in Kassadin, as the level 11 and especially level 16 spike is an amazing win condition to play towards. There are very few champions in the game that scale as well as Kassadin, and because his early game isn't even all that punishable, he's quite difficult to exploit. Kassadin even wins lane against most other AP assassins, which leaves him with very few glaring weaknesses. His only downside really is a lack of early shove to get priority and help with skirmishes, but if you can get past this stage, it's smooth sailing from then on out. The only matchups Cass can run into some issues with are against AD assassins like Talon or Zed, so just ban one of them out and you're all set. The entire build will consist of Everfrost into Archangels and then Zanyas. Archangels and Zanyas can be swapped around depending on which you think will provide more value earlier for each game. You can't go wrong with Fleet Footwork on Kassadin, however with it being nerfed slightly for 11.6, put more priority on Electrocute, especially in those easier earlier game matchups. With Ravenous Hunter being nerfed this patch and Ultimate Hunter being completely viable for Cass, we'd recommend making the swap over. We've seen a bit of a shift in the ADC meta over the past few patches, and Vayne has really come out on top. Vayne's in a great spot for 11.6, and well worth spending the time on. Thanks to Kai'Sa, Jhin, and Samira all becoming slightly weaker, Vayne, who was sitting right below them, is allowed to tumble past and shoot up in priority. Phantom Dancer saw some buffs a few patches back too, which was a nice indirect change for Vayne. The meta we're in is amazing for Vayne, as Jhin and Ezreal are two of the most played ADCs, and Vayne loves those matchups. The strong bully picks like MF, Draven, and Lucian have sort of fallen to the wayside in terms of popularity, so the Vayne pick isn't being punished as hard for her weaker laning. If you can pilot Vayne well, she has the best solo carry potential for any ADC in 11.6. Vayne's one of the few marksmen who can put a stop to these busted chem tank abusers like Hecarim and Udyr, as her kiting potential is really great. The only matchups you need to worry about right now are Tristana and Caitlyn, so banning one of those two is a good call. Rush Kraken Slayer into PD and then Infinity Edge for the build. For runes, take Press the Attack combined with Inspiration Secondary, running Magical Footwear and Biscuits. Ravenous Hunter was just nerfed for 11.6, so our analysts expect Domination Secondary won't be as optimal. We've been telling you guys for a while now that Tristana would start to take over the meta, and it's finally starting to come into fruition. Tristana can do well in the meta for similar reasons to Vayne, as Trist has some nice mobility and self-peel in her kit to help nullify broken engaged champs. Tristana's early laning phase is insanely strong and gives you the ability to run away with the game in no time. Thresh, Alistar, and Leona are the most played supports at the moment, who all enable Tristana to do exactly what she wants. Trist just feels really great to play, since the agency you have over the game is much greater than that of most other ADCs. Many other marksmen have to rely more on their supports to be the engage or look for pick plays, but Trist can do it all herself. We told you guys Phantom Dancer on Trist was highly underrated a few patches back, and now players are finally catching on. The core build is Kraken into PD second and then Infinity Edge third. shred the enemy's HP bar to pieces by running Hail of Blades as your keystone, combined with Triumph and Alacrity from the Precision tree. Our analysts were really surprised Thresh wasn't on the nerf list for 11.6, as he's been in a super strong state for a while and will continue to control the meta for yet another patch. You have so many ways to impact games with Thresh that it puts his carry level way above most other supports. His kit really just offers a little bit of everything, from a strong pick tool to great disengage and a great deal of skill expression, which makes Thresh very rewarding to play. Believe it or not, Thresh actually becomes indirectly stronger for 11.6 as Shirelia's has been buffed and the item's been performing exceptionally well even before the patch. It's really just a matter of time before Thresh receives a nerf, so continue to spam him while you can. A little tip for your ability maxing on Thresh is to leave E for last and max W out second. Many low elo Thresh players make the mistake of maxing E out second, but putting points into W gives you way more value. So max Q first, W second, and then E last. You'll definitely want to be rushing a Shirelia's for this patch now. So many Thresh players have been sleeping on it in previous patches, but it's an even greater pickup with the buffs. Transition into Zeke's second and Knight's Vow third. More and more Thresh players are finally realizing the strength of Guardian on the pick, so look to run it as your keystone combined with Inspiration secondary, opting for Biscuits and Cosmic Insight. For a second patch in a row, we have Leona trailing right in behind Thresh as another premier solo carry pickup. Leona provides you with top tier playmaking potential right from the get-go. Level 2 all-in will catch the enemy off guard more often than not and lead to an easy summoner blown if not a free kill. From then on out, it gets even better as Leona becomes an unkillable tank with her W at level 3, which makes her skirmish extremely broken. As you complete Moby Boots and transition toward level 6, Leona's all-in power and roam potential is very difficult for other supports to match. The chain CC from a Leona combo will guarantee a kill every single time and make the enemy you tag consider banning out Leona in all their future games. Just like Thresh, many low elo Leona players have been messing up their skill order. You want to max W first, E second, and then Q last. The cooldown on Q is stagnant at 5 seconds no matter the rank, whereas E drops from 12 to 6 seconds when maxed. So many Leona players max Q out second instead of E, but are missing out on so much power because of it. The Leona build is a Locket Rush into Zeke's second and Knight's Vow third. Aftershock will be the keystone with Inspiration secondary, running Hex Flash and Biscuits. Alright everyone, that's going to be all for this one. Now that you're all up to speed with the top carry picks for each role, take control and see your elo skyrocket for 11.6. Be sure to smash that subscribe button if you enjoy this kind of meta content, and turn on notifications so you can be the first to learn the new trends. Thanks so much for watching guys, and we'll see you soon.